It could have been worse timing to do that. Literally, that was almost ideal, Maven. Oh man, I hate you sometimes.
I'll try again.
No, it's perfect. You literally missed it by about half of a second. So I'm gonna take this one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gandhi's Thoughts, brought to you by My Nutrition. I am Gandhi, joined by Maves. Maven, how are you?
Fantastic, bud. Last night was, I think I made it in bed like 3 seconds and I was out.
Yeah. I had to catch up on my TV shows because I'm a 70-year-old woman.
I watched a couple shows, but once I actually lied down, I was out.
Yeah, it felt good to actually sleep.
Yeah.
So
I do so in the hotel rooms with Benson there.
So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a little bit of a UMG recap video. We're going to basically be looking at the top 5, since those are people who got paid. The top 5 teams got, they made their money. But before we do that, I think I speak on behalf of both of us when I say UMG, Jeff, April, Prophet, Golden Boy, Benson, everyone out there who basically gave us a shot to cast at UMG. Thank you so much. That was awesome for us.
It was a phenomenal event. I know we did that one cast in Atlanta, but that wasn't when we were, technically kind of on as, employees sort of for the event. So this was our actual first full COD event. And
what did you think about it, by the way?
Show, man. What
did you think about it?
That was great. It was a blast. I mean, just from a production standpoint, I know Golden Boy was just running around like a crazy person to make sure everything went smoothly. But from the community to UMG who ran the event, it was fantastic. I mean, I know you and I, we weren't exactly nervous, but this is our first full COD event coming over from Halo. And
to be honest, man, I wasn't going to let it slide or let it slip. But losers bracket finals, I was like, okay.
Yeah, you expect to get some negative feedback and stuff, but overall, what we were hearing from the community, to whether it was advice or hey, great job, it was fantastic, and we're here to stay. So.
Isn't that such a scary thing for them to hear? They're
right?
Like, oh, man, these guys are not going anywhere. I got to say, Maves, because, you've actually never casted in front of a crowd, really, before. With the PA system.
Yeah. I mean, because at the Halo events,
there isn't one.
It's not what it used to be. And there aren't, this big following of, from fanboys to all the girlies. They don't have that huge following anymore. So it was a blast. It makes it easier for us. It makes it more fun for us when you have a great crowd in the background. There's 20,000, 30,000 people watching. It's just that much more exciting for the players and us especially.
Yeah. So thank you everyone out there for the support. So without further ado, Maven, you ready to break down these top 5 teams, sir?
Yeah, and the payout, I know you kind of started there, but it was 20K. I'll go to 20K. It was, I believe it was 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, something like that.
10, 4.
I know Fifth got 1, so.
But, we had, it's tough to call them huge upsets because obviously, the teams that did place in our top 5 were all, stack squads. They were all great players. But, you and I, for instance, came in. Our pick was TK over Envy in the final, and that is not remotely what we saw.
Yeah. So coming in at 5th place here is going to be Team Envious. Team Envious looked amazing, to say the very least, days 1 and early of day 2.
Yeah.
Actually, all of day 2, because their losses only came on Sunday. And I personally was like, wow, man, these guys look great. Because, we did see SoaR almost lose round 1. I casted that with Benson, and I was like,
that was the one I went to, game 5, and we were like, uh-oh. The problem with that was just Ian was sleeping the day away. They didn't have Enable, their coach. That's all that was.
Yeah, the coach Enable. But so, we were sitting there, and we were like, wow, Envy looks really good. And they wiped the floor with VVV. That was a quick 3-0, and I know you were kind of pumped up for it. You're like, oh, my little Nifty. My little 15-year-old Nifty's going to get
I got to talk to him a bit. He's great. He's hilarious.
Yeah, and dude, I forgot how just short Karma is.
When you called him Frodo Baggins on stream, I lost it. I was sitting behind you, and I was just dying. I'm looking over him to see if he heard you. I don't think he did, but
I don't think he did.
You'll see it eventually. But yeah, Karma, from what we watched, we were really pumped for MB because they had the recent team change, adding Merc, and they finally had not the best finish, but at PAX, they perform better than. Oh no, sorry, Gfinity. They perform better than they have been as far as making it a pool play and starting to place back into that top 8. And we had high expectations for them, and especially watching, again early on, Proofy and Karma were going off. Karma was wild in some of those games, and then.
Yeah. So their 2 losses actually came from Curse Gaming, which Curse didn't make it out of pool play at Gfinity, and we'll get into them a little bit later. So that was a complete shocker for Maven and I. I do know that Curse is a high caliber team, but it was still like, wow, we expected Envy. Then their other one came from Vanquish, who ended up taking the entire event. So, yeah. I mean, they lost to the 1st and 3rd place seed, but I think still, if you're Envy, just having those names alone, I think you're hurt a little bit by the performance.
Yeah, I mean, at the event, they were clearly the biggest name in there. Company-wise and player-wise, they had the biggest profile for sure. So you never want to finish in that placing. And, I'm just interested to see if there's going to be team changes coming with the new game. And I do think, we love our boy Rambo. He's the man, He's so knowledgeable and stuff. But, just having conversations with people, they're starting to say, does he have kind of that gun skill to keep up with some of these young bucks? Because he's always been known for, the cerebral play, not the gun skill necessarily. And as we learned at this event, at the end of Black Ops 2, you can get by with some gun skill.
Yeah. I think Vanquish kind of showed that as long as you don't miss shots, you'll be okay. But to me, I think Rambo, from what I've heard, Rambo's really, really good at Activision, Infinity Ward games. Obviously he ends up falling off at the end of Treyarch games, but, I don't know. I doubt we'll see an envious change just because they got progressively better. But, that is something to float around. So, moving forward here, we do have the boys coming in 4th of Total Caliber, coached by Minnesota Burns, who, Maven, what's funny is he actually used to be a Halo 3 fan. He used to watch on MLB. Yeah, I know. He knows all about the guys.
We had some nice conversations with him outside. Great guy.
Yeah.
And, TK was our favorite. We've seen them have all these just top 4 finish after top 4 finish after top 4 finish over the past couple months. And, with some of the top caliber teams, for example, Complexity not being at this event, we really thought this would be their one to win. But they struggled a bit there on Sunday.
Yeah, they struggled. They lost the semifinals. That was actually it wasn't a bad matchup, the SoaR versus TK. I thought it was pretty interesting to watch, but I think that's kind of when everyone was kind of like, wow, SoaR is coming here to play. But TK, I don't think they really caught that rhythm that we normally see them get into. I mean, they went to Game 5 Saturday night, and I don't know if it was just because they weren't used to playing with Goonjar, because, they've been playing for Stainwell for a month, but I still think it kind of took me and everyone else by surprise that they came in at 4th.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you're in the money. 4th isn't a bad finish, but the conversations we had with those guys and all the people involved with Caliber, they were expecting a better finish. I mean, they wanted first.
Yeah, so. I don't think I've ever seen anyone more beat up over a 4th place finish than Neslo. He, for you Halo fans out there, if you guys remember Roy, how he used to be after finishing 2nd or 3rd, that's basically how Neslo was. I've never seen him more fired up. He was like, I'm going to play for 16 hours a day when Ghost comes out. No one's going to fucking stop me. I'm going to be the best. Fuck all these other kids. And I was like, oh, well, you did
fired up. Well, you like to see that passion.
Yeah, you do.
It's a big thing, especially, if it was me and I was picking, players that I'd like to team with. You want someone that's going to hit that grind. You want someone that's really passionate about it. So it's good to see from them. I mean, I expect, over the course of the next Call of Duty game here, TK is going to continue to be a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and I think we can completely scratch off any idea of them making a team change. I mean, those guys all they were all hanging out. They were having a good time. I know Sunday night we were up in the hotel room, or whoever's, I think it was Paradigm, whoever's
Parasites, it was. We were all over the place.
Yeah, we were all over the place. But, the TK guys all kind of moved together. There wasn't any shadiness going on behind anyone's back, we normally see at events where it's just kind of oh, well, yo, you want a team,
this guy played bad. I'm
going to go talk shit on my teammates' back.
They have fantastic chemistry, and that's a really good piece of their team. I think that's why we've seen them have these top 4 finishes, and that's 4 or 5 in a row for them. So they're definitely very consistent, and I fully expect them to keep that roster for sure.
Yeah, I think since forming, they have yet to place outside of the top 4. That's a pretty gnarly stat.
Yeah, it is, and it's again, they're not content with it, but still, from our perspective, they're doing a great job.
Yep. Moving on here, so their loss in the losers bracket also came from Vanquish. Vanquish beat them in a
3-0 on everybody, yeah.
And, TK was just a little bit short. So moving forward here, we do have the guys of Team Curse. Curse is a team who everyone was really questioning going in here just because Gfinity was kind of like, oh, well, you didn't make it out of pool play. You're not that good. And then they came here and they were turning some heads.
Yeah, and, I didn't know, we're new to the community, and we've been learning as much about the teams and players as we can, but it's been over a pretty short period. And I didn't know, obviously I'd heard of Miraculous and a lot of these other players, but I didn't know a ton about great Bozzini. But I'll tell you what, the second I started watching him play, and Benson was just going on about his name, I'm a huge fan. He was playing out of his mind all weekend. And they were a surprise for me. I heard of Curse. I knew Curse had a strong squad, but and they were fantastic. And they were one of the teams, from our little commentating section that we would really, really hear get fired up on main stage. And that's always fun for us in the crowd when there's teams just getting into it.
Yeah, I think it was also really good for Miracles as well, because Miracles, ever since the split up of Team Impact, everyone knows Impact,
the infamous Impact,
the infamous Impact. He's been on a steady roller coaster down. He didn't have the best PAX event. He was teaming with Killa, and it just didn't work out. Then he had a terrible Gfinity event. Not him personally, but with that roster, Cursed, it wasn't the best. And then to show up here and finish in the top 3, I think that was really, really big for him. And the entire time, he plays on his sixth sense. So when his shot's on fire, he's not going to miss. But if he's not feeling it, he's going to miss some. It's just how it is when you play a little bit of a faster sense. And, he kind of made Envy his bitch when I was casting. I was like, wow, he's literally just not missing.
Yeah, and that's what we saw all weekend long. We talk about Call of Duty and how, even more so than Halo in a lot of degrees, it's so much more about positioning and, forcing those spawns. But I guess I was so impressed with just the gun skill of some of these players, just the raw talent that just, those 2 and 3 pieces that you pick up hopping around, they don't happen unless you're not missing a lot of times. Or somebody else chokes, obviously.
Did you notice how many people actually do the counter hop? They wait for you to jump, and then they counter jump to the opposite way.
Everyone is hopping everywhere in this game. I love it.
Yeah,
I know a lot of the top players kind of hate how it's become this, jumpy jump game, but it's it makes it harder. It's easier when you hop, but when you're dealing with the other person jumping, it's requiring more gun skill than it would, if you weren't. So I think it makes it more exciting to watch personally.
Yeah. Second place here is going to be SoaR Gaming. SoaR, the guys, awesome people. They didn't get to play a lot at all leading up to this event. 1, because Methods hates online. 2, because Stainville was actually playing with TK for Gfinity. So it was very interesting.
Commentating them, they had Saintsville and Stainville, and I'm staring at it, just hoping I don't screw it up again, because you're looking at it's just popping up fast in the bottom left, and you're trying to keep track, who's getting what, and those fuckers.
My favorite thing about their team is Methods. Methods is the kind of guy who would shave some of his dog's hair off and glue it to his chest when he was 7 years old. He still takes mirror pictures and everything. It's hysterical.
He's pretty much the funniest person alive. I love him. He cracks me up. He's so young. He's just got this incredible humor and perfect comedic timing. Just with anything he says, I'm chuckling. It's great.
Yeah, and I think Saints for me was holy shit, this guy can just play. There was countless amount of times. I don't think he played a single hard point.
Every hard point he had a 40 bomb.
30 or 40 kills versus top tier players. It was nothing.
He was going off. I kind of felt bad for him because he was just in hard carry mode in some of those games, at least when it comes to Slang. I know Slang's not everything. It's not, but he was going in. And he's one of the players I got to meet for the first time, shook his hand, chatted a bit, and he's great. And God, he's talented as hell.
Yeah, and I actually really like him on this SoaR team. Now, obviously, we've only been in it for 2 months, but I was doing a little bit of digging. I was like, how the hell did I not hear about Saints at Gfinity or MLGs in the past or whatever? And they said, well, he does have a little bit of an attitude issue, and it comes with the territory. Yeah. And I think with him, the mixture of him and Stainville is really good, just because Stainville's that veteran who just a lot of players still look up to this day, because he's kind of paved the road for a lot of these other players. So I think it's a good matchup.
Yeah, I absolutely do. And I know they were one of the teams that we were sort of rooting for, because Methods is one of the first guys we really got to hang out with in COD. We spent some time with him at PAX, which was a blast.
Yeah, he's
and
funny
obviously, Enable made it to the top 8 of the Halo 4 Global Championship. Has been a long-time Halo veteran. Verified Twitter, sponsored by Red Bull. He's been in the community for a long time, and to have him go there as a coach, especially since he's looking to compete in Ghosts, it was very cool for us. We were definitely rooting for them.
Yeah. I think one of the main things I heard, too, was a lot of people said, Enable brought this kind of communication that not a lot of the top teams are used to, or some players just aren't used to, because there's so much small talk, and Enable has that deep radio jazz voice, right? So they said, everyone on his team said, well, maybe you should just stay being a coach, and then he was like, nah, I'm coming for your placings.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how they do, because this tournament's going to be fresh after release, just a couple of weeks really, and. Yes, your strat, player like Rambo have some sort of an advantage at the beginning because they'll be the ones that are quicker to pick up, some of these more quote-unquote elite tactics that you'll get early in the game. But you can rely a lot more on just raw gun skill. So that squad that's going, I think it's Ace. He's the one, he won the $200,000 Halo challenge, $200,000 for one person. That's just absurd. Ballers. You then have, Snakebite, Enable, and Formal, who are all just
robots,
monsters in the Halo community. So I'm excited to see how they do. I just bought my ticket to Columbus today, so I'll be there cheering them on.
You're such a girl. I'll figure out what I'm doing. And then last but certainly not least, we have the team Vanquish, coached by Bezo. Maven, Vanquish, I think I even told you when we first did their match. I think we did one of their matches early Saturday, or maybe it was Friday. I forget which one it was. But I was like, I don't think I was like, they'll probably finish in the top 6, but we may not have to worry about it. But holy shit, was I wrong?
Yeah, they were just, when they got into the losers bracket, it was just 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-1. They were just stomping everyone. I think it was 3-1 over Envy. They 3-0'd TK. They 3-0'd, was it Curse then? Yeah, I think they 3-0'd Curse. And then the finals, they had to win 2 best-of-5. I think it was 3-1, 3-1. So they 6-2'd SoaR. I mean, that's just, they won 15 games and dropped 2 over that Sunday stretch. That's
their stretch also, by the way. I think I saw the tweet from Fizzerp, and he said it started at 10:30 a.m. and it ended, I think that the entire tournament ended at 12:30. So
they didn't drop a map.
Gaming for a long time, and they dropped 3 maps, 4 maps all day.
Yeah, and this is not at all to take away from anything they did. They were playing out of their minds. Anyone that was watching the stream saw that they were missing. They were, and especially, I was talking to some of the guys, and they were saying, they're all really, raw talent, very, very incredible gun skill. But when they do really work together well, they're just disgusting. And we saw that. But the one thing, we heard some shouting in the crowd from a couple of the guys, and it was one of the things that really, we got talked to a lot afterwards. And I'll be honest, we don't handle the rules. I don't know what the actual ruling was with it, but I learned about it not even from a Call of Duty. I learned about it from a Halo guy. We were playing League play a month ago, and he was telling me about the new glitches that people are starting to figure out. I know the one he showed me was, I think it was Raid, standing out in front of wheelbarrow.
That's a fun word to say.
This little green plant here, if it's kind of on your periph. And, if it starts to blur, where a member of the opposition is. And I only know a couple of them, but apparently these have sprung up on pretty much all the maps. And I don't know what the actual rules were, but apparently it was picked out by people watching that they were using these, and I guess the members of SoaR were not. So I don't know. It's not our call. We have nothing to do with it, but that was one of the things that was talked about a lot. And I don't want to take away from Vanquish. They were incredible.
No, but you can't, because they literally shredded through everyone.
Yeah, and it's not even really worth talking about it, because
I think it only really makes the
tournament.
I think it really only makes a big difference on Search and Destroy anyways.
Yes, S&D is the one where it's...
Because, Hardpoint, if you're sitting there and you're using it, you're going to just be a jackass. It's way too fast-paced.
It's S&D, exactly. And, it's not the biggest deal, because, obviously, that's the last major Call of Duty Black Ops 2 tournament, so we're not going to really have to deal with it again. But it's just, I think, worth pointing out, because a lot of the top players there was just discussions all night long, should it be used, should not be used, and again, it's
the last one.
Yeah.
What can you do? But really, if you guys want to see what gun skill looks like, go ahead and watch Vanquish versus TK. It's going to be the losers bracket semifinals. Watch just raid Hardpoint and watch Fizzerp just fucking crush through his opposition. He got 3 back-to-back-to-back 3 pieces. What the shit?
Yeah, that's bananas. I mean, the only thing
batshit crazy.
One of the best things I saw, when I was with Benson, I think it was Realize, that he's like, who do you want to start with? And I was like, let's go with Realize. And he just gets 7 kills in like 25 seconds. Like, you just have those occasional outbursts, from these players. They just go nuts. But he was just doing it on the reg on Sunday. Like, he was just shitting. It was very,
that's
very
what
fun to watch.
sucked for them, is because I forget what teammate it was, but one of their teammates couldn't talk at all on Sunday from being too hyped the other 2 days. He couldn't even communicate.
Yeah, well, I know one player was sick. We heard him yell sometimes, just like, guess he had like a cold or something. But it was great. We got to watch. John was one of the first, players. I kind of got to watch. We're getting involved at Atlanta because we were kind of going back and forth with Halo and that. And oh god, your comment during finals, the Dexter comment was killing me, because I just picture that Epsilon team, and they're all yelling, Parasite's yelling, Marks is yelling, and then you just see John like.
John literally doesn't know how to express emotion. I'm convinced he really doesn't.
Absolutely killed me.
He just sits there and hangs out. But I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, the entire weekend he was giving us feedback, especially me. He was just telling me like little things or compliments or whatever it was. So I guess to wrap up the show, everyone out there who's ever helped us out. So big shout outs to Rambo, Neslo, Mr. X. I'm sure.
We had
who am I forgetting here?
I know. I'm sure it showed sometimes during our commentary that we knew. I mean, we knew that was going to happen. We didn't have a lot of time, but there were a lot of guys that really, really tried to get us up to speed, and I hope that showed. It sounds like it did to some degree. So, yeah, I mean, we're falling in love with COD like millions of others, and looking forward to future involvement. I know I've been getting a lot of tweets asking, if we're going to be doing MLG. As far as I know, they haven't selected. There's no final selection for commentators yet, and I
don't know what to do with my hands.
We've known Puckett and the Shipster for a long time, so maybe we'll weasel in there. I don't know.
They just bring us on as jesters. Just give us hats and let us hang out.
Yeah. It was a phenomenal weekend. It's great to meet so many new people, make new friends. I was a little gay, but make new friends.
It was a little bit.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, other than that, we love you, but we don't love you.
Don't love you.
Take it easy.